Thanks for the quiet entrance, people. I would love to introduce Michael Bruner of Brogan Video. I've had the pleasure of knowing this man for a few years. He is a phenomenal personality, and he is a videographer who works a lot with small businesses and nonprofits. And this last year, he saw a milestone and a lifetime goal of his own in writing, producing, and filming a feature film here in Livermore. And so he is here to tell us all about that process and about the film, so we can all go and support him when he's ready to release it. Michael Bruner.
I had so many people say that they were looking forward to my presentation as I walked in. Thank you all so very much. So, I am Michael Bruner. I have my own video production company here in Livermore. I focus on small businesses and nonprofits. But I'd like to start with a question. Who here has ever taken a vacation to another continent? How many people here know someone whose life's goal, either it was yours or someone else's, to go to another continent? My life's goal was to make a film of my own. So, trying to make this relatable, I titled this presentation, How I Achieved My Goal for the Cost of a Reasonable Luxury Vacation Overseas. You're going to be seeing a lot of footage from my general work here, so if you ever get bored listening to me, just enjoy the fun footage. So, a little bit about myself. I went to UC Irvine studying theater arts, but I absolutely fell in love with video when I was there. That's me. This is a film that I shot in the Philippines, in a small city outside of Ilonggo. A man flew me and my business partner out for a week to film this amazing film in a language I didn't know. And what an experience. The lead actress ended up marrying my partner at one point. And my brother, who came along, also met a woman that he married, but I was already engaged, so I didn't meet anyone. We ran out of light, which was probably a good thing, because I kept wanting to get closer and closer to the fire dancers. Oh, this is such cool footage. Get closer, closer. Oh, maybe that's a bit too much. Yeah, he was throwing gasoline at me at one point. But we had a lot of great experiences with my previous company, which is still going strong down south in Southern California. Another opportunity that you're going to see in a moment was called the Home of the Brave. It was following a group of veterans called the Vet Hunters on a charity bike ride from LA to St. Louis, helping homeless veterans along the way. This is this. The amazing thing about this experience was we were following in an RV, filming and editing it as we went. What an experience. And by the way, those guys have senses of humor that will just tear you in half. They are so sharp with their wit. But what an eye-opening experience. I mean, going into homeless camps in St. Louis, Las Vegas, talking to these people, really hearing their stories, and some amazing successes. Some of these people were homeless just because they had lost track of their family and had no way to reconnect. We reconnect them, they find their families, and they go home. It took a phone call to get some of these guys off the street. It was just unbelievable. That man just there, he walked up to me and asked me if I was a Vietnam veteran. I turned around, 28 at the time. No, sir. He ended up telling me his whole story. The whole idea of this was that we went to St. Louis and we were going to show it to Eric Shinseki. Didn't quite work out that way. Through no fault of ours, the final film was amazing. These are some of the opportunities that I had, and just incredible. Being able to really ask people about their lives, being able to see incredible things. I'm not a thrill-seeking sort of guy, but I really needed to burst through the wall, shall I say. I made my own company here in Livermore, Brogan Video. where I was working with small businesses and nonprofits, and I was as pleased as could be. But the dream of making my own film never went away. I made my own scripts, I made my own attempts. I met someone who had an interest in doing faith films, so I wrote a script called The High Road, about a young man who finds out his friend gets arrested for domestic violence, and how it affects the friends, how it affects the family, how it affects everybody. That didn't work. The guy lost his interest in faith films. Had another film that was a dark comedy about cannibalism on the high seas. I wrote that after I left my last job, and my employer was a bad person. But that also fell through. It's so hard to get money for these things. Then, two things happened. The pandemic hit, and I hit 40. You can probably see where I'm going with this. I ended up with a lot more time on my hands so I could write, get creative, and also I had to start thinking, am I going to have the physical stamina to do a project of this scale if I wait 5 years, 10 years, wait for everything to line up? I don't know. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I said, I'm going to write a script. I don't know how I'm going to finance it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this a step at a time. Wrote a script, and I got to work. I decided to write a script about a coming-of-age story. A young man who wants to go into journalism, but he's dealing with a hearing problem, and he is isolated from his family. The thought that came to my mind was, imagine a summer when you're 18, 19, where just about everything in your life somehow gets affected. Romantically, professionally, spiritually, just something happens that in some little way shapes just about everything of the person that you become. I wrote it with a couple things in mind. With my equipment, my means, and my skills, I made sure that all the locations would be in the Tri-Valley, not just because I love the Tri-Valley, which I absolutely do, but also because being able to do this whole thing 5 minutes from my house, I live on North K Street, that's nice. I made sure that the biggest and most impressive scenes of the film were at the beginning and the end, so the audience at the end will have something to go home and talk about. Change locations and the characters often, and no hard cursing or material to keep it from being family friendly. This isn't going to the ratings board, it's probably not going to get a wide release, but still, I like to be able to tell someone, oh no, man, there's no F-bombs. The fun part was, then I got to start using my network. This was something that I did not know how much was going to help me. There was a professional writer in my professional network, helped me out tremendously. I did video work for her. She went over my script so many times, gave me so many suggestions. I was able to cast it and equip it, usually largely from friends that I had in doing theater and community theater and other people who knew other people. The beautiful thing is, once you convince one person that you have a good project and you're being honest, they'll start telling all their friends. And then you get some great recommendations. My cinematographer, I met him at the Livermore Chamber. You never know where you're going to meet some of these people. And many of the locations were from previous or existing clients. A couple of fun stories. The Valley Humane Society, that does, the kittens and the puppies, they let me use one of their surgical suites for free. Just because I had worked with them before, I provided them a really good video, they remembered me, I asked very nice, and that was it. The Tri-Valley Haven, their food pantry on L Street, North L, they let me film in there too, for free. They asked me to film a little 30-second promo for them while I was there, which I was happy to do. By the way, that food pantry is amazing, but their industrial-sized refrigerator was absolutely killing my audio guy. My goals for the film were as followed, and I'm really happy that I was able to stick to these. Everyone is paid on the day of their work and credited for their work. I've worked down in LA. There are so many people who will tell you about all the money that's coming, a great project, it's really exciting, but you're gonna have to do it for free. They'll pay you later. I'm not doing that. I am not being that guy. Everyone who showed up was handed a check. If the day went completely to hell and nothing got done, you still get paid. Made people very happy. I said only LED lights and available lights, no generators at all, because if you really want to annoy the people around you, try turning on a 2-stroke generator in the middle of the night and see how many people will call the cops. Yes, I'm speaking from personal experience. I was not the producer on those projects. No all-night shoots. A lot of scenes being filmed at night, but it just wears people down. It seems like a good idea, you get a lot done, but by the third day, oh my God, you're working with zombies, and you're feeling like a zombie. No fights, no shouting, no injuries. I was absolutely adamant to that. It was a very small crew, only 4 people, including me behind the camera and a large cast. If people started fighting, it would just be absolute poison to the whole project. No one raise your voice, no one be rude, and it worked. No stunts, no metal touches flesh, all knives will be fake. There's 2 scenes in the movie where someone gets cut, but I did the funny little switcheroo of having a real knife, fake knife, because I know people who've been injured on films, and being injured for a piece of entertainment is not worth it. Especially when working with a bunch of young people. I couldn't always be looking over their shoulder. So, had to be very careful. I wanted the whole film to be shot in digital RAW for a Cinema 4K Master, if anyone knows what that is. Shot entirely on Cinema Prime lenses, which I'm very happy I have. I had just the year before got my very first cinema camera, which is recording me right now. And I like to brag that the latest Mission Impossible film, which was up on IMAX, used that same kind of camera. So it'll look really good. And that's the same camera I use for all my general clients, so. So I put my budget together and then had to take a real hard look at what I could do. I could afford a 9-day shoot. That's not much. 4 people behind the camera, a cast of 27, 1 lead, 9 supporting actors, 3 dozen extras. My plan was I wasn't able to guarantee all my actors would always be available to me. Some would probably drop out. So I put all my eggs in one basket, the lead, made sure he was positive, and everyone else could be replaced if need be in a day or 2 notice, which happened. A huge trunk of food with preferred snacks for everyone and meals included. One thing I learned working on some of these projects is if you make your expectations to people very clear, pay people promptly, treat them politely, and feed them, they'll put up with an awful lot. People will be there and they will keep their energy and they'll keep their smiles if you can just do those 4 things. Had to rent gear, matching camera, more lenses. Then I needed money for post-production, which I am currently in. Though, and I didn't make this clear, the film was shot last year from April 15th to the 22nd. And at the end of this presentation, we're going to be showing a trailer from the film. I'm now in post-production, needed more money for that, for reshoots, audio designer, posting marketing material, original music, and here's a fun little thing that I looked up. I shot a grand total of 24 hours of footage, which for a feature-length film is kind of on the low side, actually. If that were to be shot on 35mm film, that would have cost me, wait for it, $100,000 for the negative alone, $70,000 to have it processed and digitized. Not including the cost of renting a gigantic 35mm camera, someone who knows how to use it, all the extra gear that I would need, and a big old loud generator to power up all those lights, and about a half dozen more people behind the camera. So thank God for digital. Now here's some of the fun stories. Problems on the set. I filmed one scene in a underpass right next to McDonald's. There's homeless guys who are usually down there. And the main character comes across a homeless man. And instead of going away, he just goes up and talks to him. Nice scene of him talking to this man. As we're filming this scene, people are coming through, and to not be a pain, we always move the gear back and we get out of people's way right away. A couple of guys come in and sit down, and we just say, oh, you can just move through. And they say, hey, we live here. I am very sorry. Let us just finish here. And then we just get a couple shots, we're on our way. We have a couple more shots to get, and their stuff's in the way. So I just go up and ask them very nicely, hey, I'm doing this film, can I just move your bike? You guys are very nice about it. They move their bike, they ask what's going on, they talk to the actor who's the homeless guy, and they chatted up with him. They think he's homeless. I'm laughing because he showed up in a Porsche. Good costume. These two homeless guys chatted up with us, they're super nice, and inevitably, they help us carry our gear back to the cars. Just neat little story. I was going to film a California collision, another one of my clients that was very nice to offer me their place. Unfortunately, they could only have me there for 3 hours. They showed up half an hour late. And I had 6 actors, 5 scenes, 18 unique camera angles to be done in 2.5 hours. And one of the actors got COVID the day before and had to be replaced. So the new actor had half an hour to get used to the script, show up, and be part of the scene. We somehow managed to get every shot we needed and to put those scenes together. Another fun one. We had a climactic scene at a campfire. Young man, kind of lost, heartbroken, goes to a campfire where he meets another guy who's had a couple of drinks. He's got a knife, keeps flipping it around. It's like, ooh, this is going to get bad. And it does in the story. Wanted it to be the campfire so that you have these, flames just reflecting off their faces, and it looks intense. Right when we're about to film the scene, the woman whose ranch we were filming on says, there's been a real fire hazard. I don't want you to do a fire. Does it make a difference if we have it on the gravel and in a fire pit and away from everything? She just says, no, I don't want any fire. Just, okay. We are going to be here for 3 hours until midnight, at which point I told everyone they could go. How am I going to do this? Well, oh, and here's the trailer, so I'm going to be quiet.
What do you...
Long story short, we found out that we took the truck that we had in the scene, we aimed it at a corrugated walled shed, and that bounced light everywhere. It made one of the most amazing lighting setups you'd ever see.
What do you love? What in your life has your heart?
Let me tell you my story.
Back. Step in place 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now step backwards.
You can't go through life thinking that you're going to be free of pain, misery, grief, loneliness, or agony.
It's just what life does to you, You find things to care about. Life devises a way to tear that down.
And the devil lives here. I know about him, and he's waiting for me. He doesn't bother anyone else, because they can't see him. He can't see them.
It's a date.
It always made me feel that love was something you had to struggle or suffer for. It just didn't seem to do me any favors.
Everyone is different. Everyone's path to healing is different. The first thing that we can all do is acknowledge that.
Shouldn't waste your time or energy figuring out other people's conditions.
Well, every time I mention my friends, you do that look.
No, it's not. That's a thing. No, you don't get it.
You're just the one who won't lift a finger to help.
I'm here to help, all
Then
right?
help.
This is your problem, and I need you to take care of it and keep the. Look at me when I speak.
You watch your dirty little mouth.
If you go through life thinking the world is dark, but you keep your inner light, you'll never be surprised by bad things.
Let's just talk.
Think of it as a celebration of life. Who doesn't want to be part of that?
I have to. I love it.
Always have to end our presentation with that dog. Love that dog. Long story short, I met all my goals. The film ended on schedule, on budget. There was no unpleasantness during the experience. Still working on getting the film out, but man, even crazy dreams can be achieved on the cost of a nice overseas vacation.
Really enjoyed the presentation and the story. What kind of counsel do you have for young people who are considering this pathway for themselves in terms of either training or ways to get into it?
Yeah, I should. As far as ways to get into it, it's changing so quick and there's so many people to know. My advice that I would give to young people who are in any creative field, be they photographers, theater, film, is just keep creating your own work. Do something that you don't need money for and you don't have to wait for other people for. The reason it took me so long to make this is because I kept waiting for other people to help me. I realized that the only way it was going to get done is if I built the whole thing myself. Thank you all.
All right, well, thank you so much.